What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I'm Sean Woodland with Tommy Marquez. Lauren Khalil. We're efforting Lauren Khalil right now.
It's late where she's at.
It is late. Yeah, it's a late night. And I first, just before we even get into anything, I want to apologize for missing last week. I had a little bit of a family emergency come up that I had to go attend to in Sacramento, dealing with stuff with my mom and her health. 80 years old and not doing as well as she was at 79. So, kind of dealing with that, but unfortunately wasn't able to record. But going to get to it tonight. We have a lot to talk about. But first of all, Tommy, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. First off, you should never have to apologize for that. Taking care of family first, and yeah, for sure. But we got your back. A rare week. The Cowboys win in pretty smooth fashion, pretty I wasn't sure if I was going to save it for PRs and no reps, but tomorrow we have a heated clash between my San Jose Sharks and your Los Angeles Kings.
That is going to be part of my PR, so I will. I'll save that as a little tease. I'll tell you what. I really haven't been paying close attention to the Kings this year because I just look at them. That meme of the guy who's like poking the dead thing with a stick. He's like, do something. That's kind of what I am with. I'm like, are you good or are you just a team? And they've been playing pretty well lately. I mean, they lost to Washington. Yeah. So we'll see. It'd be good to have them in town. We got some stuff we got to talk about today. A lot of stuff going on with the World Fitness Project. We're going to get to that. Of course, Tia Toomey's pregnant. That's going to have ripple effects throughout the season. Could make things really, really interesting depending on who decides to show and who doesn't. And then finally, we're gonna go over the sale rumors that have been out there. Some very interesting stuff that I've been. I don't know any more than that I did know when this whole thing started, but I've talked to a lot of people who have given me some insight. So we'll talk about that. But first thing we want to do is thank our sponsor for today, and that is Thirdzy and their Rest and Recovery Collagen. Look, Black Friday's coming up, guys. So if you want to get that shopping done now, and you want to give Thirdzy a try, Black Friday is the perfect time to do it. So starting Friday, November 28th through Tuesday, December 2nd, all right? Thirdzy's having a sale that if you use our code TEF, you will get free shipping. Free shipping, okay? They're running a site-wide Black Friday sale with savings of up to 50% off. Again, it's live Friday, November 28th and goes through Tuesday, December 2nd. So if you've been on the fence, this is your chance to finally try Thirdzy's deeper sleep, stronger recovery formula. If you're already on the strong recovery train, this is the perfect time to stock up. You want to maybe get 3 or 4 so you can take advantage of that sale because it'll be another year before Thirdzy runs a sale this good again. Plus, during the sale, you use the code TEF at checkout. Again, free shipping on your order on top of the site-wide savings. I mean, they are basically paying you to try Thirdzy at this point, right?
It's also like they're paying you to have better recovery and sleep. Yes, please.
Exactly, right? Like it is to the point now, and I say this all the time, if I know I'm going on the road, the Thirdzy is the first thing that I shove in the backpack. Like it makes such a difference. You get to sleep faster, you stay asleep longer, you get more out of your sleep. It's not habit forming because it doesn't have melatonin in it. It's just fantastic stuff. And look, last year, this is why you want to get on this right on Black Friday. They sold out of their travel packs. Okay, so make sure you jump on it quickly so you get first choice on all their favorite flavors and formulas, especially if you want hold on to your butts. The seasonal salted caramel chocolate flavor, which they're absolutely loving. I'm absolutely loving. Tommy loves. May sell out soon. Like this is a nice little nightcap here during the holiday season. So Thirdzy.com starts Friday, November 28th through Tuesday, December 2nd. And look, in the meantime, your code still gets you 20% off. All right. So you can still go right now if you need a refill. Order it up. TEF is the code. You'll save 20%.
And if you've been on the fence, trying to debate whether or not you want to give it a try, I honestly, and I gave this recommendation to someone on IG the other day, that why not order both flavors in the travel packs, right? Because they're like 7 to 8 servings, so you can kind of sample them if you need. And she had other people in her family that were curious about it too. So I'm like, hey, everybody can have these individual serving sizes. You don't have to commit to the full bag. Now you have Black Friday on top of that. Pretty awesome way to throw your hat in the ring, and then, if you like it, turn around, stock up again.
It is a win situation. Thirdzy.com. All right. Check them out, guys. They're awesome. Okay. Let's start with World Fitness Project, because every time, Tommy, I look up, someone is being replaced. What's going on with the finals? Because those are about a month away, correct?
Yeah.
In Copenhagen.
Yeah. So
fill us in. Give us the deets.
Yes. So the list of withdrawals is pretty extensive. Some of them were kind of expected. Haley Adams, Emma McQuaid, Bethany Flores, more or less, I think between the three of them competed at one event out of the first two. So Bethany, obviously, due to pregnancy and recovery, Emma due to injury, Haley, a variety of reasons, not competing. That was kind of expected. And so that opened the door for some backfills. But since then, there's been a handful of athletes, whether it's Lexi Neely, who I believe earned her way as a challenger, not through one of the signed pros, had to withdraw due to injuries. And then you've had a handful of other athletes like Alex Gazan, Victor Hoffer, Maddie Sturt, Paige Semenza, and most recently, Jason Hopper and Austin Hatfield. Now, some athletes have, listed injury, rest, recovery, a handful of regions. The full scope of every single one is not quite known yet. Some of them even booked travel, and then withdrew. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Going to wait and let some of the dust settle before some of the full explanations come out as well, because again, we're also talking about the weekend before Christmas, international travel. If some athletes are kind of on the fence, even despite like being in really good standing, Hopper, Hatfield, both in really good standing. Alex makes a little bit more sense. Obviously, she's still battling back from injury too, and it's been kind of a pretty heavy road to recovery too. But in that event, and this is one of the reasons why it's been important to have that full season standings, all the athletes that have been backfilled have been competing at all the tour stops and have basically known their standing in the backfill process the entire time. So as a couple athletes got withdrawn or withdrew early, so Haley, Emma, and Bethany were the first ones to withdraw. Jen Muir, Elena Cartal, Sanahuya, and Tola Maracanio, and like for Victor Hoffer, got the backfill immediately. Then, you had Lexi Neely withdraw, Emily Rethwell hopped in. And then as those athletes withdrew, the backfill process got pretty simple. All of those athletes have accepted, been kind of keeping the engine warm. A lot of them are international, so it'll actually be a shorter trip for them. And so it kind of made that process. Obviously, you don't want some of the big names to have to withdraw for whatever reason, but it's nice that there is a structure in place to make sure that there's a full field and have these athletes have an opportunity to compete, right? Because they also announced the prize purse pro contracts for the following season. Because ultimately, on top of the standings that they're competing, so at the finals in Copenhagen, after the finals are done, think of it like the season-long standings and points. That's what dictates the prize payouts and placements for the season. It also, for the top 20 athletes, secures their pro card contract for the next year. And there's a money amount, a minimum guaranteed money amount associated with each pro contract. So you kind of, how well you place in the season ultimately also gets to determine your earning potential minimum for next year as well. So, which is kind of cool. That announcement came down the pipe earlier this week as well. And the pro card contract, the highest minimum guarantee is $80K, and it goes all the way down, $80K, $70, $60, $55, $50, goes down by fives all the way down to 11th place. It flattens out for 11th through 13th are guaranteed $20K, and then it staggers down from 15 down to 10 from there. So those are the guaranteed payouts for pro contract athletes, no matter what, by earning their pro card. So, I mean, it's kind of cool because the athletes know in Copenhagen what they're competing for the following season as well. So
have they released any dates or anything for next year, a number of events?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I know Will has talked about it on some some interviews and stuff like that. He chatted a little bit briefly with us, talking about they were wanting to add an event compared to last year. So there's this season there are two tour stops in the finals. Next year they're looking at maybe 3 tour stops and a finals as well. There's already been some rumors and murmurings talking about where the first tour stop is going to be overseas, where they finish the first season overseas, that they're maybe going to start overseas. Nothing fully has been announced, but yeah.
Okay. But there is going to be a second year.
Yes.
That looks more or less assured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's unfortunate that that many big names had to drop out, because I think, like I said, our lesson from Rogue is that, you got to have the big names on there. But I think as you just alluded to, what will help, I think, still add some excitement is that there's still a lot on the line for these for these athletes, like earning a pro card, who's going to be the 20 signed athletes next year. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that.
Don't want to, out of respect for him, also Sam Quant had to withdraw due to injury as well. So, I believe Julius Kaiser had backfilled him. Okay. So, yep.
Yeah, I love I think one thing that you could, there's a lot of things I think you can look at World Fitness Project, regardless of how you feel about it, and say, yeah, I like that. Like that's cool. We should find a way to adopt that. And I like their backfill process. I love the fact that there is sort of that challenger division underneath the pro division to help have a fair merit-based system to decide who gets in.
And it's been pretty important for the first season too. Like there's some athletes like Sydney McAlishan, who's, right there on the verge of potentially earning a pro contract, that was a backfill option for the very first one. So she went from challenger division at the first tour stop, got a last minute backfill invite, was already there for the challenger division, got to hop up, outperformed her ranking, did well in Mesa too, and is now like right in the driver's seat for a pro contract, which is cool, Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of, I guess it's really not, World Fitness Project isn't a schedule change, but just things changing. There was a change in the open schedule. So 26.1 and 26.2 have been swapped as far as location. So 26.1 is now going to be, it was on Instagram earlier today. 26.1 is going to be at Moffett Field just outside San Jose, which is obviously where the games are. 26.2 is going to be over in Europe. And then 0.3 will be at Wadapalooza.
And this is one of the reasons why I think it's cool that they announced so early, because if stuff like this has to change and there's like uncertainty, you have a ton of leeway while still getting the information out there. Also, especially for like Moffett Field, if you have to deal with like other organizations as well to get that cleared. Yeah,
it's a rather extensive process to get on there. Well, the good news for me is that I'll be able to attend that now, because I was going to be gone. There was the same week. 26.2 is the same week as the Arnold Classic.
Oh,
so there you go.
That's sweet.
But just throwing that out there. So yeah, that'll be cool. Hopefully I'll be able to go one way or another.
Heck yeah.
But looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a cool setting. Like I like those open announcements that they have, just like, there's just like a bit of theatrics to them, it just adds to it. Like that location is pretty awesome. Like I've always wanted to, and I wish I could, like perfect location for me. I've always wanted to do an open announcement on Main Street in Alcatraz. Just have people hanging off like a prison riot, like that'd be my dream location, or even out in the rec yard. Who cares? Just have it on Alcatraz.
If it's on Main Street, I want to be up there in one of the cells with like the tin cup, just kind of like clink, clink,
yeah, absolutely.
That'd be hilarious.
All right, another big news. Tia Toomey's pregnant. Congratulations to Tia Toomey. They're expecting their second child. Obviously, happy for Tia and her family, but this makes 2026 really interesting now. And I think the first question is, does Laura Horvath come back to CrossFit Games competition? Because she was one of the athletes who sat out this year. She went World Fitness Project and did Rogue. Does this influence her decision to possibly come back? Because if she were to come back, she obviously is now the favorite. But I don't know if she's going to do that. I don't know if that would be enough for her to throw her hat back in the ring with the CrossFit Games season.
It's it's hard to say. Like, does she care that much, or is it like that outweigh the principle of why she sat out?
Exactly.
Because she was one of the athletes that, did not continue forward throughout the weekend and has since
Mhm.
not taken part in the CrossFit Games season. So who knows? I mean, I know it's a year-to-year thing for a lot of these athletes and for a lot of people that like, hey, reevaluate whether or not you want to be a part of it, whether they feel like things are in a better place or proper steps have been made. But to me, like the idea that she is the favorite and that the significant prize purse competition windfall from winning being a driver, I don't know if that's going to hit the same way for Laura as it would maybe someone else.
Okay.
I this is not to take away from anyone else, but I think she seemed, the impression that I've gotten from her and brief chats with her and from talking with some people on her camp, that she's very passionate, and when she feels very principled about a matter, like she's very steadfast in that.
Yeah.
So that could mean a variety of things for 2026, but I wouldn't be surprised if she sits out again or decides like, hey, no, I'm good where I'm at.
Yep. Well, if she doesn't, things get really interesting. Because as we have talked about before with parity, there's a lot of parity at the top of the men's division, right? It's sort of the opposite of the women's. You have two super elite competitors. When Tia and Laura are in the field, they are 1 and 2. Then there's parity beyond that. So now if you take away Tia, you take away Laura, now it's kind of where you are with the men. You can make a solid case for 5-6 competitors to be the favorite to stand atop the podium here in San Jose at the SAP Center.
Yeah, and in theory, you'd be adding back another contender on the women's side in Gabby Magawa, who's been on the shelf with an Achilles injury, and I know is on the mend and has been making strides towards getting back on the floor. So that's a very intriguing women's competitive field.
If Alex Gazan gets healthy, which she probably will, I mean, I don't know why she wouldn't be at that point. She's got to be a contender. Look at what Lucy Campbell has done.
Lucy Campbell,
Olivia
for sure.
Kerstetter being on the podium. If Emma Lawson were to come back, I mean, I think Danielle Brandon is probably in that conversation. Gabby Magawa is in the conversation. It gets really interesting. And I can't remember a time when we've had, maybe when Annie sat out that first year, or everyone thought it was Briggs and she won. Maybe 2014. I don't know. I can't remember the last time where the women's field was like, throw a dart.
Yeah, 2014 was definitely it, because you had 2 of the 3 the top 2 fittest women on earth missing the cut for the games in Lindsay Valenzuela and Sam Briggs. And it was at a time when it was like pretty undeniable that Sam was like just about going to show up and kick ass and take names anytime she was at a competition. And it was like it was a combination of a singular skill component and the structure of the workout relative to her region that kept Sam out.
Mm-hmm.
She struggled with the unbroken handstand walk in a region in Europe that had a ton of good handstand walking athletes when they were, and despite that, like she would have qualified with the same scores in other regions that went her week too. It was a decent amount of drama. A lot of people felt like she should have received an invite. Lindsay Valenzuela just had a tough weekend that weekend in general. And then someone kind of came in that we didn't expect, in Camille, who won.
Yeah.
And that could also be that. And I'm not saying it's unexpected, but I think you broaden the scope a little bit when you take 2 women in Laura and Tia that have left such a wake of dominance on the leaderboard behind them. Like they're so good that it makes it hard for people to stay competitive with them at times, because in talking to some athletes, like, hey, if I'm going to beat Tia or if I'm going to beat Laura in this, I got to take some chances. Well, chances don't always work out.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times you're going to take some chances and maybe step outside of your lane a little bit to try and compete in a way that maybe forces some volatility on the leaderboard. Now that's not there. Do people get a little bit more conservative? All of these things are discussions that were going to be had depending on the competitive field once we get down that line. And I think that's interesting. It's a bummer that there's potentially 2 major stars that aren't there as well, but it also presents a significant opportunity for some people to make a name for themselves.
Yeah. I know that I'm going to argue against myself, what I just said about, 10 minutes ago about having all your big name athletes there. I think this is a specific case where that is the exception to the rule, just because of the unknown element that it injects into the competition. Because let's face it, when either Tia or Laura are in the competition, it becomes a coronation, not a competition. The question is, will Laura be able to knock off Tia? They're going to be 1 and 2. We know that. Who's going to be 3? You remove those 2, and now it becomes really intriguing. And I think that is the one case where not having your best show up might actually make things more interesting. Now, obviously, I want to see Laura out there and I want to see Tia out there. I love watching the 2 of them compete. I mean, they're generational talents. But it does kind of make you think a little bit about this could get pretty exciting. It's anybody's game now.
I'm even just like wrapping my head around, like, if they're gone, like, would I be surprised if Ariel Lowen won it?
I was just thinking about her. Yeah, she's another person who could do it.
It's that number of like, we talk about football all the time offline and everything too, but like, there's only a handful of teams that through most of the season that can win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And when one of those, like a handful of those teams just suddenly disappear, then you're like,
Yeah, all of a sudden it adds a little, what does the Joker say? Add some chaos to the situation or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a little chaos is good, man. I think I think the women's competition definitely could benefit from this. If Laura doesn't come back, and if she does it, it's still more open than it would be if, she and Tia were there. Like, it's still an intriguing, I think, field. But yeah, without those 2, man, hold on to your butts.
Well, and even like, and I guess we're harping on this a bit, but to add to that is a lot of the athletes that we're talking about, hey, maybe this could be their opportunity, have had some ups and downs, whether by, injury, accident, all of those things, have had these moments, but have had this difficulty sustaining. Alex Kazan had a signature moment at Tour Stop 1, obviously injured. Gabby, podiums at the games 2024, Achilles injury. You look at like Lucy's had her trial and tribulations to get where she's at. You could argue that, DB has had her ups and downs and close calls with getting to the podium, and even within competition where she has events that like stop her in her tracks, and then suddenly these moments of just sheer brilliance. And so I think the eclecticness of the individual stories on the women's side, when you remove those 2, make it very interesting on a granular level as well for people that are nerds or are big fans of the sport too.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to the thing we want to spend more time talking about. And I'm going to put this up on the screen because the barbell spin had a really good recap of everything that's going on. So this is the headline, and this was on November 12th, so it was like a week ago. So the headline is Wade Diebner and Mark Mastroff allegedly enter into agreement to acquire CrossFit LLC. And Brian Spin does a very good job of sort of laying out all the stuff that has been put online and some of the assumptions and some of the conclusions that are being drawn from all this. So I'll read the opening paragraph here. Wade Diebner and Mark Mastroff are leading a group who are allegedly under contract to acquire CrossFit. Mastroff is the co-founder and former CEO of 24 Hour Fitness, while Wade Diebner is a hedge fund investor in Silicon Valley. So that's right here. This news stemmed from a suspicious article posted on a new and anonymous account on Reddit last week. Okay, so Spin goes on to write, however, in an interview with Diebner by Matt Davis of Hybrid Fitness Media, and additional social media interactions appear to confirm the initial Reddit post. All right, then Spin does a good job of just sort of laying everything out that happened. So let's start with Hybrid Fitness Media. So Matt Davis is the guy who did that interview, and he posted that on his website. He posted that article on his website. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to him today just to say like, okay, hey man, why are we not showing up on screen here? Let's do this. Does that work? There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. But you're behind the thing. Can we move over here?
It's okay.
There we go. No, we're not going to do that. I'm just playing with stuff.
Yeah, I'll be behind.
All right. Anyway, so I reached out to Matt. I was like, hey Matt, how legit is this? Right? Like, is this? And Matt said, I'll just take that down here. Let's stop screen sharing. Matt said that everything that's in his article was said to him on the record. Okay. So he only printed what was on the record, and that he's gotten a lot of people that have reached out to him with opinions, but no one with facts to dispute what he printed, which I have no reason to believe that Matt is making that up. He's a good dude. I've dealt with him before, and he said that was on the record. All right.
Yeah.
So now we have clearly someone who believes in Diebner that they're negotiating to buy this. All right. So I had someone who I trust, who's been involved with this in this process, no longer is involved, but is still very aware of things going on. He sent me this and said, this seems pretty legit. And the reason he said that is because those two guys, Mastroff and Diebner, have money. Right? They have access to the funds to pull this off. And from what I have understood from talking to people, again, the same people that I've been talking to throughout this whole process, who are either directly involved in it or one step removed, have told me that the biggest problem that all these entities have had who have been interested in purchasing CrossFit is not coming up with not saying, hey, we want to make an offer. It's actually putting the funding together. And from what I understand, a lot of it has to do with when these groups go to investors and show them, hey, here's our case, here's what we're trying to do. Investors kind of balk a little bit at this and say, I don't know if that's going to be a solid investment for my money. Okay. So that's what I think is one of the things that has prolonged this process. But these two have the money. Now I talked to another person who is very directly involved in this. He said, that's total BS. So I don't know. And I think that, look, there's no way there's something being posted on Reddit by an anonymous account that should raise a lot of just eyebrows, because that's not what a professional organization does. They don't announce something on an anonymous account on Reddit. That was I don't know who it was leaked by, but my guess is that was leaked by someone for some reason that is beyond me. But yeah, and then another question I had, and I know, Tom, you probably had the same one, is that, and this has been brought up to me as well, is that usually when you enter into a 90-day exclusivity thing, there's an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that is associated with that prohibits you from speaking publicly about it. Now, that may only cover actual specificity around the deal itself. So like numbers, things like that. And you can acknowledge, this is going on. Now, because somebody with Diebner's experience and, business acumen doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's just going to violate something like that. Like, I think he's going to be very aware. So that was another thing that I looked at, but I don't know. What'd you think when you saw this?
My initial thought, and I think this is because of the back and forth that you've seen, was how much of this is smokescreen, cover, playing the game a bit, and what is the verifiable information in this? Like and this is before reading anything. Like, is the language broad? Is it like they have entered in an agreement to potentially acquire? It's like all this like the language that implies something but doesn't guarantee it. They write people who write contracts and do stuff like that always kind of give themselves outs and hypotheticals and supposedlys and all, potential and allegedly. Like, you use all these qualifying words to give yourself backdoors and outs. But I have heard multiple times things that have been told around the sale, whether it's done, it's not done, this person, that it turned out to be completely false. So I think in general, I was met with some skepticism around what is actually true and could be proven. Now there's some digging that they did here on that article about, this, anonymous Reddit account
Yeah.
that has only one follower, and that follower is the Ex-Capsa group, which Diebner is the founder and managing partner of that group. So this becomes very intriguing to me. It's like, oh, what's this little thread that was left hanging here? Let's tug on it a little bit. And like, oh, this pulls out a little bit more. Like, whoa, where's this going? And it seems like that was almost intentional. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it's really hard to wrap my head around, like, where actually in the process is this, and what does this represent as far as like what has been presented to all the other people that were potentially interested in acquiring CrossFit. And that's where just my general understanding of the process is lacking, right? Like, did other people have to enter into these similar agreements to be considered? And then what were the additional stipulations around acquiring it? And how did that differ from any of the other interested groups? And is this group in particular any further along than any other of the interested parties?
That's a really good question, because I've talked to other interested parties who are, pretty confident that they're on the verge of closing a deal.
Yeah.
But the fact that Diebner went on record, and again, Matt Davis is a good dude, and he wouldn't, I have no reason to believe that anybody who's telling me things is lying to me, right? So I'm going to 100% take Matt at his word. That was on the record. There's no reason why, and Diebner would go on there and say that if he didn't believe there was some truth to it. But I think to your point, it's like, okay, yes, but where are we in the, like, is anyone else in that process? And, according to Diebner, they're the only group left that has viable funding. That could be true too. But I was interested too. Like, one thing that caught my eye is with Mastroff and his affiliation with 24 Hour Fitness. I mean, that's a Globo Gym of Globo Gyms right there.
Yeah.
And I'd be very interested to talk about the operating plan, because one would think, I think it's a safe assumption to make that since you're coming from that world, that maybe you are going to apply some of the franchise model to CrossFit. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, depending on how far you're going to go with it, but it is definitely going to ruffle some feathers if that's where you get it. But that is a future down the road problem. But that's one thing that definitely made me raise an eyebrow. I'm like, oh man, do they think they're going to come in here and just turn this thing into a 24-hour fitness franchise model? Which that would be the last thing you'd want to do.
Yeah. And you could argue that 10, 15 years ago, like 24-hour fitness and CrossFit were diametrically opposed as companies and philosophy and approach and all of those things. Like 24-hour fitness was seen as like the establishment of fitness that was, depending on who you listen to, wasn't actually accomplishing what CrossFit was doing, right? And that the results in the approach paled in comparison. Like, and that narrative was pushed by CrossFit constantly, right? It's why they referred to those things as Globo gyms, right?
From dodgeball,
from dodgeball, and there was all this pushback from those gyms as well to anyone that became interested and started doing CrossFit in their walls, right? Like, the stories were endless of people trying CrossFit at 24-hour fitness, at Bally's, at, In Shape Crunch, whatever, name your local YMCA, and getting kicked out for it.
Yeah.
Hell, it's how Greg pretty much started the first gym and got his first location and worked his way towards opening the first gym anyways, right? Because it was being seen as a disruptor for what everybody else was doing, which was like, your normal run of the mill kind of like sit at your machines and kind of do that kind of stuff. And so it seems very odd that suddenly this person is now turn around and interested in joining a part of it. And I guess you could maybe see the tide turning a little bit when suddenly functional fitness areas started popping up in those gyms,
Yep.
suddenly like spaces were being remodeled and you're starting to see some of that stuff. You'd see like kettlebells and clubs and some rings and some bumper plates getting added in. And now it's all over the place. Like you walk into any Gold's gym, you see matted turf and you see a ton of stuff that you would find in a CrossFit gym as well. So I don't know. I think depending on what time frame you're in, that would definitely raise an eye for a lot of people who are like hardcore CrossFit followers. Like, whoa. This guy was against us and now he's for us. He's going to be the owner kind of thing. But at the same time, obviously there are people that are be looking for a fresh change and someone with more of the business acumen to maybe take over that appreciates fitness, but maybe can add some. I don't know. I'd have to do a little bit more research on this. It's still kind of fresh and it honestly doesn't quite feel real yet.
Yeah. Well, and to get back to the article that Spin wrote, and again, if you want just a really good like rundown of everything that has happened, just go read his article. Matt Davis asked Diebner, who do you think would have leaked this? And they think it either came from CrossFit or Berkshire. So, okay, why? Why would you leak something like that? And something I was told by someone else is, well, they leaked it because they're trying to put pressure on a different group to kind of put up or shut up, which I guess makes sense.
I also thought that maybe they might try and discourage other interested people.
True. Yeah.
Right. Like either put up or shut. You could. I mean, from CrossFit's end, it's like, hey, we want to like incentivize competition here to raise the price. From the interested buyers, it's like, hey, like, no, we got this. Get out, kind of scenario. Like, and that maybe potentially, adds bargaining chips to your side. But
well, it was clear it was a leak because if you read that Reddit post, I mean, that is like Chat GPT whipped that up or something.
Yeah.
That reeks of, and as a person who has used AI to help him write, that there's nothing wrong with it. Like I use it as a thought partner all the time. It's been a huge help. But
thought partner. I like that.
Yeah. It's a thought partner. I'm not plagiarizing. I'm just asking ChatGPT, hey man, give me an idea for this. And it'll spit something out. I was like, oh, that's really good. Like for like a lot of the show intros that I write, I'll say, I just need a couple things. And then it'll spit some stuff out. I go, ooh, I like that. And then I'll use it in what I'm writing. So that's a total tangential aside there. But yeah, the reason that I've been given and why it was been leaked makes sense. It's like, yeah, they're trying to put pressure on somebody else. I don't know why else you would, if it is coming from Berkshire or CrossFit, I don't know why else you would do that. To your point, just you're trying to increase competition and put pressure on anyone else who might still think they're alive to make a deal here. But yeah, I don't know. I've heard so much. I've heard that, this group is going to get it. And then I've heard that no, Berkshire's going to hang on to it. They might actually double down on their investment. They don't know what they're going to do. But then you have this. It's like, no, we're in a 90-day exclusivity window. This news broke at the same time that some CrossFit officials were here in San Jose doing a site visit at SAP. And I talked to some of them and I didn't hear jack squat about this. Not that those guys would be in the loop, but usually someone lets something slip. But it's really interesting. Yeah. And the fact though, that you have to think there's some smoke, like there's a little fire here, is because Matt Davis got Diebner on record. And that guy isn't a person of his reputation isn't just going to go off and start making stuff up. So I would say there is something to this, but the big mystery is, like you pointed out, okay, but where are we with that? Like, does that, if you started your 90-day window, that only means that you've started a 90-day window. It doesn't mean something is actually going to get done.
Because again, obviously all the financial stuff have to be looked at and combed over, and that's usually a big obstacle, but
that takes time.
It's something about my gut just tells me the fact that like the more we kind of talk around and swirl around these ideas and rumors, and this has been reported, not, it still feels that like We're still just kind of like we don't know.
We don't. And like I said, it's so funny to
Berkshire,
me.
And that goes for everyone. Like
Yeah.
Berkshire for CrossFit, it's like, we don't know. Maybe not.
Because again, I trust the people that I'm talking to, and they are pretty well dialed in. And oftentimes I get different stories. And it's not because, I don't think it's because anybody's being dishonest. I think maybe it's because they're being told different things.
Or people are changing their minds day to day, or day to day it changes.
Yeah.
It could be like, how my wife picks what we're having for dinner,
Yeah.
That's tough.
No. Yeah, that's a minefield right there.
Let's just go to Chipotle and get chippies. All right.
I got some chippies tonight, by the way.
Ooh, sounds good.
Yeah, I needed it. I had a good Chipotle post workout. I did some overhead squats. We did a little 1 rep overhead squat heavy. Got to 200. So that was good.
Nice.
I had to beat my friend Trevor. He went at 5 a.m. and I looked at the board. He got 195 and I was like, yeah, I'm beating him. Throw 200 on there. It was like right at the end. It was like we had a 20-minute window and I was literally loading my bar at 18:30. I'm like, no, I'm doing this. To hell with it. So
I'm sure he's a great dude, but with Trevor's a name awesome, like Trevor, man.
He's awesome.
You got to beat him.
I call him T-Rev. Yeah, he's one of those guys that is like dad fit. Like doesn't look it, but damn, that guy he's fit. Like I hate it because he beats me all the time, but he's also like 10 years younger than me. But we're usually pretty even. I don't know where I was going with that story, but yeah, I had Chipotle, and it was good. But
you don't have a reason. You don't need a reason to have Chipotle.
No. Well, I usually go on Thursday nights, but I'm not going to have time tomorrow. My son and I usually stop after hockey practice. But all right, well, we'll keep an eye on this, and if I hear anything new, I'm gonna continue to talk to Matt, and like Matt has said, like no one has reached out to him to say, hey, this is factually incorrect, and I know why, and here it is. Like everyone has just had opinions on this, just like we're spouting here. But look, I hope that whatever is going to happen, if there is going to be a sale, that it happens before the season starts, because that would be chaos. Because I think that one thing I'm relatively sure of is that there will be personnel changes all over the place. And the last thing you want to do is in the middle of the season, just sort of come in and start
just scrambling around.
Yeah.
This whole discussion, like the discussion about the CrossFit sale feels like, honestly, it feels like all the latest political discussions around like aliens and all these files getting released. And it's just like, we do know, like people are, nobody really actually knows the truth of what's actually happening. Yeah. But it's like, I heard from this person, he's involved, kind of, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This video proves it. Actually, it's that. No, that's not what this guy said. Yeah. That's a very good analogy. But anyway, again, it's a really good recap on barbell spin about what's out there. Just very matter of fact. So check it out if you want to get the whole picture of what's going on. But I appreciate, Matt Davis talking to me today and
heck yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. He's a good dude. All right. We got any community support we need to get to?
I have not, at least not recently.
No. Okay. Yeah. I haven't gotten anything that has crossed my feed either. If you guys have something you want us to get the word out on, please send it to us via our personal Instagram accounts or our Talking Elite Fitness Instagram accounts. We're always happy to help people out, especially as we kind of barrel towards the holidays. There might be someone out there, who might need a little extra help. Happy to get that word out, but please just send us all the details that you possibly can, because we want to send people to the right spot to get people the help that they need. PRs and no reps. You got a no rep? Dad cough. I don't think I have a no rep. I got a couple PRs though.
I was going to no rep Mother Nature and water, because we were having this discussion that I had a good discussion with one of my college buddies maybe like 2 years ago, and he was like, we basically told him we were looking to buy land or buy a house, and he goes, welcome to a constant state of trying to figure out water management. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm always either trying to find out how to get water to or away from my house, and I never know which one it is. And I'm like, that's a good point. And rainy season's coming, and it's been
cold here, man. Like it was cold today.
Very cold.
I mean, I sound like a wussy California. It was in the 50s. All right. It wasn't that cold, but that's
Us,
cold
it was
for
low. Us, it was low 40s.
Really? It was like, it was
Yeah,
like 50 degrees at San Jose State today. It was gross.
I was standing in my backyard, and I'm like getting the air compressor fired up, and I look down at my watch, and it's 42 degrees, and I'm like, that's crispy.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have any no reps. I got 2 PRs though. I'm going to PR my trivia team, Pups and Suds. We do trivia in Campbell, California every Tuesday night at Out of the Barrel. We are going to we've made the Final Four tournament next week. We are in the Final Four. And yours truly last night got selected by his team for the tiebreak question. So we tied with another team, and they're like, well, you need to send a representative up. And he's like, Sean, go. I'm like, all right, great. We have mechanical engineers here, and you're going to pick the dumb jock. Awesome. I'll go. And so the question was, what is the atomic weight of uranium? Because there was a question that the answer was uranium. And it's like, oh, God. Like, I'm trying to pull this one out of my rear end. And I started thinking, okay, I'm going to go something kind of high double digits. Okay. And then and then the guys at my table, you're not allowed to confer with your table. And my buddy Ryan goes, hey, Sean, Puka touchdown. I went, okay, 12 plus 7, 12-7, 127. All right, I guess that's what we'll go with. So I write down, and meanwhile, the other guy immediately wrote an answer down and had just had this, huge grin, smug grin on his face, like, oh, yeah, he knows it. And so I wrote down 127. My original answer was going to be like 85 because, Jack Youngblood. Lucky number, why not? Yeah. And so it was whoever's closest to the answer. And it was 92. So we won.
Whoa.
The other dude put like 253. So he way overshot it. So yeah, I won a free beer for our whole
250. Are there that many chemicals on the table?
So what he picked, because I was talking to my buddy Deba today, and he goes, that guy actually answered the atomic mass, not the atomic weight. They're two different things. Anyway, So if anybody wants to know, the atomic weight of uranium, 92. My trivia team going to the finals next Tuesday night. And then my other PR, I got a PR friend of the show, Ted Ramey, he's the MLS radio voice of the MLS San Jose Earthquakes. He also does the studio show for the San Jose Sharks on Comcast Sports Bay Area. He has provided me and my son with free tickets to go to tomorrow night's San Jose Sharks Los Angeles Kings game. So we will be sitting in section 107 behind the visiting net.
Ew.
So that'll be fun.
You can see one of the fastest rising stars in the NHL, Macklin Celebrini.
He's legit. He is legit. So those are my two PRs.
Who's currently third in the NHL in total points. So
that team is good. They got a little something cooking there at the SAP Center. Got a little something.
Will Smith and Celebrini as a kind of 1-2 punch. They got it.
Yep. So anyway, those are my PRs. What do you got?
Do you know what the name Pup and Suds comes from?
I do no idea. No.
It's a Disney. I don't know if your teammates would know, or that was their inspiration. But Pup and Suds, I believe, was one of the sponsors or companies in the movie Brink. It was all about the Disney Channel movie, all about racing on rollerblades.
Okay. Yeah. I got one question right because of my experience with the Arnold Strawman Classic, having been in Ohio so much. The question was, it was multiple choice. How many states in the U.S. have a non-rectangular flag? 0, 1, or 2? And I'm like, I think it's 1, and I think it's Ohio. And I was right. Got that one because I've been to Ohio so much that you see that state flag, and it's like, it's not a rectangle. It's got like two little points.
Yeah, the little jagged points. Yeah, that one right. It's for lovers.
There you go.
I had 2 PRs. I was going to half PR the Sharks because after starting 0-6-1, have been ripping off wins. Other second one was I saw that Jenna Hauka, CrossFit's marketing lead, is a U.S. citizen now.
Nice, congratulations, Jenna.
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram the other day.
Good for her.
Yeah, there was one other. I was going to PR friend of the show, Presley Hirsch from HWPO, just recently got engaged as well. So
congratulations.
Yeah. Some good stuff on top. We've been talking a lot of babies, haven't talked a lot of engagements. Got to mix in those good life stuff.
Absolutely. All right. That's going to do it for today, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. And again, we apologize for taking a week off. I guess next week we'll just talk Thanksgiving stuff. I don't know what we're going to do next week. We'll figure it out because Thanksgiving is coming. Get that food.
We also got to figure. I was gonna run it by Lauren today, but I was kind of getting talked into a fitness challenge that I thought could be our punishment.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll discuss that as well.
I'm just gonna throw it out there: the burpee broad jump mile.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, she would. I don't think she's gonna like that, but whatever. Small legs. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for today. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for watching. For Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better. And we will talk to you guys next time.
Like a kiss at the start of a first date. If it's good, I don't want to wait. When the feeling's right, I'm taking it.